We are live. Hello, welcome to one of Uda's little LinkedIn live sessions. I'm genuinely very, very excited to have Trudi Parr from Mollie's today. Everyone on the Uda team has been ribbing me a little bit about how much of a I've become of Trudi since we first met a few weeks ago. But I'm really delighted that Trudi's found some time to be able to share the work that she's been doing at Mollie's, which in my opinion is honestly really inspirational, really pioneering, and people deserve to hear about it. So Trudi, first of all, thanks for joining us. For people who've never come across you before, maybe just quickly share a little bit about you, your story, and that sort of thing.
Yeah, so Trudi Parr, I started working at Mollie's 3 years ago as People and Development Manager, and have quickly, as the business evolved, even can't get all those words out today, has grown significantly with regards to the people function, because that became quite paramount that we were working in a people business, so that needed to evolve quite rapidly. So yeah, I'm head of people and development at Mollie's, so responsible for everything from cradle through to retirement. Yeah, and we want to keep them that long as well. So
awesome.
That's the plan.
And for people who haven't heard about Mollie's, just could you share a little bit about the brand and where you are, and perhaps a little bit about the plans for the future as well?
Yeah, sure. So Mollie's started, it's quite a new business, so 2019. First site in Oxfordshire, second site in Bristol. So we've only got 2 sites at the moment. So around about 220 staff, or team members, we call them. So we are opening Manchester next year, so summer next year, and then the plan is for more to then follow. It was originally a brainchild of Nick Jones of Soho House. We're beautifully designed. We still are beautifully designed by the team there at Soho House. Very much budget luxe is what we put ourselves under. So affordable, accessible, good food, good people. We want everyone to feel welcome and belong. So that's our whole ethos. So it's not just the customers. We want that, that to have that feeling. We want everybody internally to feel that way as well. So it's very much inside out projection is what we're doing.
And from a brand perspective, so it's sort of rooms and a diner. Is it like it has this wonderful slightly old school feel this
a little retro, I'd say. Yeah, so definitely far removed from your idea of a motel from the films you may have watched in the American films. But the food, so we have, at the moment, the aim was to transform the roadside. So we have 2 different parts of our business. So the roadside piece and the Manchester piece will move us into city centre. So there'll be 2 products. But roadside, so we have 2 separate buildings. So one's diner, one's motel. Both operate very well in their own right. They stand for themselves, but also as a hotel product, it's really cool. Very lots of surprise and delight. So great food. We've got a great food team. Kate Brooke-Green's our head of food, and Dan Gover is innovation chef. They both have a steeped history in food development, and Kate originally from Ivy, Dan from Pig. So they have a lot to bring with them to the table. So even though you think you're in a diner, your product is very good, the suppliers are very good, the quality is very good, and the experience obviously with the people is very good. And then the motel side, you have a wonderful feeling vibe when you go in, very, very cool, homely general store area, as well as reception, and nice areas outside to have your cocktails and things like that. And then bedroom wise, we have Hypnos mattresses, lovely thread count linen, so nice sleeping experience, good tech in the room. So the whole experience right the way through from prior to check-in can all be done through your app, as well as charging your EV charging. So we're very much into the sustainable piece. So EV charging is a big feature in our venues. So you can charge everything through your app and your booking, seamless experience. But we didn't want that to be it. It's not only about the tech. The tech allows us to give that hassle-free service. So it elevates it for for your, the people to be able to bring their service level, so that, if you want I'm going to come in and go to my room and I don't want to speak to anybody, that's all good. But if you are looking for a wonderful experience when you come in, you have that too. So yeah, chargers next to beds, that frustrating piece when you put your phone and you go to bed and it's over the other side of the room, those kind of things. The ports, also the television, you can stream everything through your television as well, personalized for you. And Dyson hair dryers, it's good. And so, and the GHDs as well, which transformed my life for sure. So the whole experience with the cowshed products and the feeling of the rooms, even though you are in a motel, it certainly feels like you are in somewhere quite special.
Yeah. And
did I sell it?
You did. I mean, I'll be honest, the Dyson hair care and the GHDs and stuff less appealing to me. But like, other than that, one of the things that struck me is you're one of those brands where it feels like the customer experience is quite authentic and reflected in the employee experience and the culture. Does that make sense? Like, has that been quite a conscious decision in terms of,
yeah, well, actually, if I take it back to where it sparked, like when I started that, I started just after the second site opened. So Oxfordshire had opened, then COVID hit, and then you come out of the other side and you try and find yourself. And then, so everybody's just, getting those people back into the business. And it's quite strange when you start a new business to have to then recalibrate, but when we opened Bristol, I think it opened in June and I started in September. So I came in and was like, cool, this is cool. Like, it feels good. And it's got so much about it that's already organically special. Like, I can't explain it. I'm a hotel geek. I've spent my life in hotels. Absolutely. I travel the world by hotels. I've sat and worked and lived in hotels for probably about 20 plus years of my life. And when I watched Mollie's prior to joining, and I was like, feel a little bit aligned with this. I don't know why. And then when I joined, I sat in the reception area, and I work from the reception area quite often. When I'm in site, it's nice to be around it all. And just watching the people makes me grin, allows them to, they're being themselves. When you have standards, you have structure, you have SOPs, absolutely required. We need to know who we are. And they were being built, throughout my time. Mike Hogan, another name drop, he's our head of ops, he's phenomenal. So he very much led a lot of that, but he was very conscious. And so, obviously the leadership piece of allowing people to be themselves within that piece. And I think that's where it started, the joy of that, knowing that people can be themselves. And when you look at our TripAdvisors, especially, the number of names that are mentioned individually is epic. Like, you sit there and go, okay, this is kind of cool. Which means that the tech piece has been something, we have won awards for our tech and things like that. So it has been we have allowed people to be elevated through that, because we're making their lives easier. But knowing that is the secret bit, the bit that allows people to belong, be themselves, feel a little bit free when you're at work, is the bit that then we were like, this is the bit we need to keep pushing on. This is the bit that we need to keep elevating on. And this is the golden nugget, I think, where a lot of places don't allow that to happen. And that becomes very structured and very rigid. So yeah, it was very much, it was seeing what was happening organically within the space and the environment, and then going, what do we do with this to consciously really elevate this and push it forward?
I'm going to be a bit nerdy at the minute, and people will switch off in droves. When I talk to founders about growing the culture within their business and the people experience, I try to make people aware of, like, what are the influences on that culture. And one of the things I talk to people about is this idea of a meta culture. So cultural norms that apply across businesses, across industries. You get meta cultures within geographies. There's a different way of running 100%. Companies in Japan, etc., etc. I think what I find so inspirational and refreshing about Mollie's is my sense in which you've designed this from first principles rather than just following the meta culture. Does that make sense? You talk then about, I think there's a lot of structure and stuff that goes into hospitality businesses that ends up cutting across people's individuality and people's ability to be themselves and do the special stuff around service and be authentic. Yeah. And people just end up feeling more and more like a cog in the machine.
Yeah.
Is that fair? Do you think? Does that resonate?
Yeah, 100%. And I think I'm sure we all have worked in businesses where every business I've worked in actually has been SME up. So I've been able to be in the mix of watching that happen or influencing it or being part of it and my roles have changed quite significantly. I've been in operations, I've been in sales, I've watched how that all works. And I think it's super important to take the good bit, the bit that's the magic that you see happening at the beginning, and not allow that to go anywhere. And we definitely have not got everything right. We are literally, every day is a school day. Like literally every day is a school day. I'm like, okay, what do we do now? But it is about going, okay, let's not like put this light out, and I won't sound too cheesy. It is that. It's like, and I know I do a lot of quattro formaggio in the way I speak, but it's about not letting that go out. And I think it's also like, as you watch a business grow, it's super important to not, you've got to bring the policies in, you've got to bring those things in, but don't let them feel like you're putting a policy in that isn't theirs, and don't let them feel that they put the policy in that doesn't match just for policy's sake. Like, watch how the natural flow of the business goes, and then if there's need, you bring things in, and then you go, okay, is this right? Is it going in one direction? Are we going to lose this? But I think like our leadership team, so our senior, we've got a very linear structure. We've got Darren Sweetland at the top, who's our MD, and then we've got heads of department, and we are as diverse as they come. Like and it took me a while. I've come from like very corporate environments. I've come from not so corporate environment, like I've seen it all. And like you have a natural habit to try and fight against that and bring people, don't you? You go, this feels a little bit uncomfortable at times, but everybody brings something to the table that actually you go, oh, okay, I get this. I get why they did. And I think that in itself, allows you to reflect that through a business, and then you allow the next layer of people to then be a bit more themselves, because they're not just a reflection of the level above, so you're right.
And Trudi, like jumping maybe to the bit that I find, if I'm honest, the most inspirational about the work you've done at Mollie's is probably how you talk that sense of authenticity, that sense of inclusion and diversity is like playing out through the front line of the business too, and the work that you've been doing to like bring people in from different backgrounds, like maybe not traditional talent pools for hospitality, that sort of thing. And I wondered maybe if you wouldn't mind just sharing some of the amazing stories that you've shared with me previously about the people that you've brought into the business and the difference that's made.
Just like give you a little bit of background, like the belonging piece is something that we were like, we need to make sure that we're reflecting, like hospitality is as diverse as the people that are coming into our businesses. And we were like, we need to get into our communities. We need to get into, like, now we know what we're doing. We need to get into our communities. So Becky Lester, who works with me, she is phenomenal with regards to how she involves herself in really understanding people's stories, people's backgrounds, and what adds value to the business. And as we explored this journey, we met people from education, we met people from our community partners, we met people with our charities, all these people around us. And what struck us is the messages that were coming through from both college, school, and our charity partners, that this overwhelming statistic that was 4.8% of people with special educational needs and disabilities are employed. Like, what is that all about? Like, that is alarming. And we spent time getting to know these people in terms of their charities. So especially like Yellow, I'll give a shout out to Yellow Submarine in Oxfordshire, because we're in our communities. And then we've got Stepping Stone, we're our original and still our charity partner, community partner in Bristol. And one, Stepping Stone's got a bakery, and Yellow Submarine has got a cafe. So they work with young people that to give them skills to hopefully get them into employment, and work on placements and internships and all that kind of stuff. And we went into them, and actually, like, honestly, overwhelming. And when you look at your business, like hospitality people, and I don't want to jump around a bit, but that's, you know, how my brain works like that. Hospitality has this problem with filling roles, right? We have a recruitment issue. We're not alone in that industry, right? We're not alone in our industry for that, but we and also traditionally we're very rigid with our job descriptions and the way things should be done. And we go, come in, everybody, fit inside our box, you know, everybody should do what we do. And then we have retention problems. And then we have, you know, all this whole knock-on effect of just looking after people generally that hit us in you know, come into our sites. And we were just moved by this stat, and we're like, this is, in terms of what we're trying to do as our business, we have a business need, and we have met these wonderful people that are very capable of filling these roles. And so Becky, we learn everything. Becky is like, I'll say her name all the time because she's phenomenal, but she learning every day of how we can support our communities, but also make our business thrive and be better inclusively. So we started work with these charities, and Helen joined us quite a while ago, well over a year ago. Helen is non-verbal Down syndrome lady. She's 29, and she loves cleaning, and she is absolutely phenomenal. Like, so the bit between, we looked at the role, carving roles, so the bit between our service, you know, turnover and busy times and stuff like that, we just couldn't manage the, you know, the turning around of everything. And Helen came in and she filled that role phenomenally. She's the first there. She cleans everything. Nobody gets away with anything with Helen. She is absolutely phenomenal. And her mum said to us, this is the first time Helen's ever felt like a 29-year-old woman.
Yeah.
And the team adore her. She adores work. She absolutely smashes it out of the park. She makes us more efficient. She makes us better. And, you know, Helen's not alone in that. Every team member at Mollie's does that, you know, but she's massively valued. And what we've also seen as a direct result of working with our SEND community is our kindness factor in the team, and education and awareness building. Our team are literally the most wonderful people. You know, like you just see them adapt, change, learn, grow, interested, aware, and want, you know, and also very much value her, and value what Helen does, and because she's doing a job that needs to be done, right? So, but also our inclusivity piece, you know, how it feels coming to Mollie. People have come to us and have been very open and very honest, and employee voice has changed because of the overwhelming acceptance of everything internally, you know, and that you can be you at every level. And you can't tangibly put things on this apart from start to see what comes back in employee surveys and what comes back in opinion. But the vibe and the feeling, especially, you know, in Bristol Diner when Helen's on, is next level. So we want to do something to change that. We want to make sure that our message, you know, what are we doing as an industry? What are we doing? You know, and inclusivity, I think, you know, people do shy away from the things that may feel hard and awkward and different, and things that we don't know everything about. But there are so many people that can help us to understand, raise our awareness, learn, and do things better as people. Because it shouldn't just be about, we're not here just to serve and make money, right? We're here to add to our communities, enrich our communities, make people feel good. And by doing that, inclusivity has to run wholeheartedly through the business. You know, inclusivity is about having people when you look around the room, I think I was listening to a speaker this week and they say, look around the room and who's not represented. Well, with the SEND community, unfortunately, they're not even allowed in the building at the moment. You know, that's what they feel, you know, because they're not getting recognition, and in the 4.8% of people is a shocking statistic. So yeah, we've got a desire to change that, really. And yeah, it's a journey we're definitely on, and we're learning every day.
I think what's so there's lots of it that I find really inspiring, but I think when you talk about you can sort of, it's intangible and oblique in the sense of it's quite, I don't think you can say, oh, it causes this, but the sense of a ripple effect within a culture of being more inclusive, having different types of people, and I think it just changes the way you feel about the place you work, you know, like
100%.
and cuts across. I think, you know, some places there's almost like an adversarial type setup between people working in teams and the company, you know, whereas I think if you're in this environment where you've got different people and people are seeing that roles are being shaped to fit the strengths of individuals, and people are seeing that we appreciate like a different range of like what people are contributing to this, you know, like not just like we want this one thing, like, you know, and like you said, driving people into sort of boxes. That I find really, really inspirational, and candidly, that it makes the business better. It's good. It's like I don't mean to be cold-hearted about that, but I think that's the message that comes through. It's like you can attract talent into your business that loves working there, that will stay with you for a long time, that has a huge, you know, beneficial impact on everyone else around you, and you're solving a talent shortage.
Yeah. And we should be doing every single, you think about coming into business now as well. And with, you know, especially this generation, the next generation that's going to be joining us, very values led, and it's not about working for the man anymore, right? It's not, it's very much like, how do I feel at work? What do people believe? You know, what can I do at work? But also what are your values? How do I align with those? It's very much not just, it's very much not just, you know, this is how it should be done. And I think everybody brings something very different to the table, and we should be molding, we should be talking to people, we should be understanding their strengths and what they can bring to the table. And we shouldn't be putting people in places where they're not thriving. Like if we want our business to thrive, we should allow people to thrive. And I think that traditional, you know, structure needs to just start to wibble a bit. Do you know what I mean? It needs to start to move.
I love that. Make the structure wibble. I do think that like most organizations put the role before the person. Like you know, we're out to recruit a KP or whatever it is, rather than we need a great person who can do this, what brings this, and it's much easier to change the shape of the role than it is to change the shape of the person.
Exactly that. And what do you actually, what are the cool bits that you actually need to happen? What is it? You know, does it have to encompass all these bits, or are you just adding those on to make the job description look really good? You know, so it's about that. And I've seen that happen a lot. So it's kind of like, it is, we have to be adaptable. I just think in everything you do, we've all got to be going, is that should, and I think that we're in a fortunate position that we are a relatively new business with not a lot of computer says no right now. And I hope that never happens. But you know, it's about going, okay, how do we do this smarter? And what do we get back from that? And I don't mean that in terms of us, I mean how we feel. Is this making, you know, the culture piece that we want to deliver about being really inclusive, career focused, changing perception? We're not here, I mean, Mollie says we're here to disrupt, and we're not disrupting for disrupt's sake, but we shouldn't just go, that's what everyone else does and that worked for them. They think we don't know, because we have, like I said, we've got a retention problem in our industry, we've got a recruitment problem in our industry. Things traditionally should not be done the way we've always done it, otherwise we're just going to go around in this big loop. But this work that we're doing at Mollie's is it just is the right thing to do, and we as a business thrive from it, absolutely. But we do get to change people's lives, like we should be doing. Like that in itself, the feeling of that going through a business is phenomenal.
And so people listening to you, I'd like, yeah, see, everyone on Uda's now getting like, this is why Matt's been raving about Trudi for weeks. But like, if people listening to you won't fail to be inspired by it, can you give them some like benefits of the lessons that you've learned over the last couple of years, or the challenges that you've overcome? Like practically, if you were sat there here at the moment listening to this, like, okay, cool, I'm going to do something about this. Where'd you start?
I think look at your community partners, like ask for help, right? Ask for help, because everything, and you should ask for help in anything new. Like no one, if you go through life thinking you know everything, that's all a bit wrong. So ask for help. Yellow Submarine and people. I mean, we'll be able to help if anybody wants to reach out to me afterwards. But there are community partners in every single location, but also your education system. So those colleges as well. There will be people like Oxlep, for example, Enterprise Social Skills Partnership in Oxford. I know I'm quoting regional bits here, but there are similar division people. And there's people like the Witherslack group. They are a national futures program piece as well, who will support you, will come in and do free training for you. They will come in and they will understand, they will help you roll carve, they will help you understand. We don't want to give a job to somebody who doesn't feel like they are capable of doing it. So we need to make sure that we understand what everybody's capabilities are. We should be doing that with every single job that comes into business, really, not just working with Send, but everybody. We should be having those conversations, but they will come and support you. But also your leadership team, get them, talk to them about it, see where their feeling is on it. Because our leaders have, this is all about everybody's on board. It's not like I'm coming, I'm going, are you with me or not? It's literally like when I speak to Mike, Becky speaks to Mike and says, we've got this skills masterclass and we're bringing all these kids in, or we're bringing these people in to do skill, and he literally straight away comes back with dates. That's what we do. And and Becky's going into a school, I think it's next week, to do milkshake. I know she's not, she's doing mocktails, because obviously you're not allowed to serve alcohol to children apparently. She's doing mocktail masterclasses, and it's like, take somebody from work, take them, bartender, go. So I think it is having that open conversation with the benefits and understanding. You will get reliable team members. You will get people that will literally be the first in to come and work for you. You will get people that smash it out of the park because you know what their capabilities are, and you can support them that. But also those leadership, get some training, do some training, then these teams will come and train your leaders to be able to actively support people. It's really just, our people in our industry are the most amazing humans anyway, right? They already have the skills to be able to listen, talk, interact, be empathetic, all of those things already. And that just needs to be the norm for every member of your team that comes into your business. And so there are people that are going to help you, is all I'm going to say. And that, there are challenges in terms of, you have to stop and do this properly. You can't just wing it into your business. And it is about making sure that you have the follow-up, the structure, the support, the buddy system, the on a daily basis, everybody knows what's happening and everybody knows what, but that becomes then very normal, very natural, and becomes a daily life. So it's a conscious effort.
That last point's really, really interesting, Trudy. Like, we're running up a little bit against time, but like maybe the last reflection from me is, so I spent a long time working as a consultant in the space, like 10 years. And I think one of the lessons I learned over time was every organization that had a culture I admired had this foundation of operational excellence. Like the business was well run, like things happened. You could, information got to the right people, where you needed them. SOPs were well defined. People and actually, I do think that, like you said at the end there, there is a lot of, there's work and effort, and you have to make it happen to do this. But if you're in a context where you're constantly getting dragged into firefighting stuff, or, do it, does that make sense? You just haven't got the headspace to do it well. And so, having the foundation of a well-run business to be able to do this special stuff, I think you could miss that. I think you could jump into trying to do really amazing stuff without that foundation in place, and then you can't follow through on it.
Got to build your foundations first. Absolutely. Like, there's no point on a shaky ground, right? So, absolutely, the most important thing of all.
Trudi, thank you so much for your time. It's been such a pleasure for me.
Smile.
Listen, if people haven't been to Mollie's, genuinely, it is worth taking a detour. It's like a little, like, oh my goodness, how have I not heard about this or found this before?
Yeah.
So if you are going past down the M5 past Bristol or South Oxfordshire, or next year Manchester, when's Manchester?
Manchester City Centre, so the old Granada Studios. Yeah, June time.
June time next year, definitely it's worth making a detour for. And as I said, I just find that the work you've done around inclusivity and careers and those sorts of things, I just think people need to hear more about it. So thank you so much for your time.
Pleasure. Massive team effort. Thank you.
Thank you. Speak to you again soon. Cheers.
Bye.